To act as if you possess everything is to recognize that the world around you is a reflection of your inner consciousness. It is an understanding that what you believe to be true is the very essence that shapes your reality. This is not merely a mental exercise, but a way of life, a way of being, thinking, and feeling as though everything you desire is already yours. The secret lies in your imagination. Imagination is the creative force that brings into existence everything that you will ever experience. If you can imagine it, you are already in possession of it. It is not a matter of waiting for things to appear in the physical world. It is knowing, without a doubt, that they are already yours in the unseen world. This inner knowing gives rise to the outward manifestation. You must live as if your desires have already come true. When you wake in the morning, carry the feeling of the fulfilled desire with you, and let it guide your actions throughout the day. Feel the success, feel the joy, feel the peace, as if it is already a part of you. Do not wait for external circumstances to change before you change your perception. The change happens within, and the external follows. Walk through life with confidence, as though everything you've ever wanted is already in your possession. Speak with the certainty of one who knows that their desires are no longer distant possibilities, but current realities. Every word, every action, every thought should align with the belief that you are already in possession of all that you seek. When doubt arises, you must immediately affirm the truth within you. You must silence the mind's chatter with a firm belief that what you desire is already yours. As you persist in this mental discipline, your outer world will inevitably conform to your inner beliefs. Remember, your imagination is the bridge between your current experience and the life you desire. The more vividly you imagine yourself as the person who already possesses all, the more real it will become to you. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is the fabric of your reality. What you impress upon it, you shall experience. Imagination is the most powerful tool you possess for creating the life you desire. It is not simply a mental exercise or a whimsical distraction, it is the very fabric of reality itself. Through imagination, you are able to shape your experiences, your circumstances, and ultimately your entire world. The key to unlocking everything you wish to possess lies within your ability to vividly imagine it. This imagination is not a passive act, it is an active creative force that moves you from where you are now to where you want to be. When you begin to understand the immense power of your imagination, you realize that the physical world is merely a reflection of your internal state of being. Everything you see around you, your home, your relationships, your career, even the money in your bank account, is the result of past thoughts and images you've held in your mind. These thoughts are the seeds from which your reality has grown. And just as you have the ability to reflect upon the past, you also have the power to create a future that aligns with your deepest desires. This power is unlocked through imagination. Imagine for a moment that your dream life is already real right now. Picture yourself living in your dream home, experiencing the freedom of financial abundance, surrounded by loving and supportive people, and doing the work you feel most passionate about. Close your eyes and let the images form in your mind. Notice how you feel in this imagined reality. Feel the excitement, the gratitude, the peace, and the joy as though you are already living in that state. Allow yourself to completely embody the emotions associated with this imagined life, because this is where the magic happens. The feeling you generate is the key to bringing this imagined reality into being. The power of your imagination works on the principle of feeling. When you feel the emotions associated with the fulfillment of your desire, you are broadcasting a signal into the universe. This signal, your emotional frequency, sends a powerful message that says, I already have it. And when you hold that feeling consistently, it must manifest in your outer world. Your emotions are not just reactions to the external world. They are the cause of your experiences. The more vividly you can imagine your desired reality, the more intensely you can feel the emotions connected to it. the more quickly it will materialize. But this process requires more than just daydreaming or thinking about what you want. It requires belief. Belief is the foundation that allows your imagination to take root and grow into something tangible. If you do not believe that it is possible for you to possess what you desire, then your imagination will remain an idle fantasy disconnected from the reality you live in. It is your belief that connects your imagination to the realm of possibility. This is why it is so important to affirm daily that you already have what you want, not just in passing or half-heartedly, but with conviction, knowing that you are creating a reality that already exists in the realm of imagination. The more you believe in the power of your imagination, the more it will shape your reality. Your thoughts become things, but your emotions are what give them life. When you act from a place of belief and feeling, you are no longer just imagining in the abstract. You are engaging in the process of creation itself. The beauty of this process is that you do not need to know the how of your desires. You do not need to understand how they will manifest or what steps you need to take. The imagination does not need your logic or reason to create what you desire. All you need to do is immerse yourself in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and trust that the universe will align the circumstances for you. This is the key to acting as if you possess everything. You do not have to figure out the detail. Your job is to maintain the vision, feel the emotions, and trust in the unseen workings of the universe. Another important aspect of using your imagination to create your reality is the understanding that the present moment is all there is. The past does not define you, and the future does not exist until you create it. The only thing you have control over is the present moment and the thoughts you entertain right now. If you can consistently imagine the life you want as already real, then the present moment will shift to match that vision. The future you desire is not something that is far off or waiting for the right circumstances to happen. It is already here in the present, waiting for you to claim it. Imagine that you are already the person who possesses everything you want. Feel the confidence, the peace, the contentment, and the joy that come with knowing that you are already living the life you dreamed of. The more you focus on this feeling, the more it will become your new reality. And as this feeling becomes your dominant emotional state, the world around you will begin to shift to match it. The actions, your words, and your energy will naturally align with this new reality, and what you have imagined will become visible in the physical world. It's important to realize that this power is within everyone. No one is born with the special ability to create the life they desire. It is available to anyone who is willing to engage with their imagination and their emotions. Your imagination is not bound by time or space. You can imagine anything at any moment and it will begin to take shape. The key is consistency and faith. By consistently using your imagination to create the life you desire and having faith in its manifestation, you begin to align your entire being with the life you envision. The external world may not change immediately, but trust in the process. The more you practice imagining yourself as the person who already possesses everything, the quicker your external reality will reflect your internal state. There is no limit to what you can create, because your imagination is boundless. As long as you can imagine it and feel it as true, it will eventually materialize. So, begin today. Start imagining the life you want as already yours. Let your imagination be your guide and your emotions be the fuel that drives your creation. Know that you are capable of bringing forth everything you desire simply by imagining it into existence. Your imagination is not just a tool, it is the very source of all creation. To live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is a profound and transformative practice. It goes beyond the intellectual understanding that you can have what you desire. It moves into the realm of embodying that reality, feeling it and experiencing it in the present moment as though it already exists. This is the essence of creation. For what you feel becomes your reality. When you act as if your desires are already fulfilled, you align yourself with the very vibration of your desires. creating the conditions for them to manifest in your life. The first step in living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to truly believe that what you desire is not a future possibility but a present reality. This may sound counterintuitive, especially when you are in a situation where what you desire seems far away or completely out of reach. But the key to manifesting anything is to understand that all things exist in the realm of possibility. When you can imagine your desire and feel as though it is already yours, you create a connection between your inner state and the outer world. Feeling is the magnetic force that draws your desires into your life. It is not enough to simply think about what you want or to visualize it. Those are important steps. But the real work begins when you allow yourself to feel the emotions associated with your desire. You must become one with the experience of having what you desire. Imagine yourself already living the life you want to live. See yourself in your ideal situation, experiencing all the feelings that come with it. Whether it's the joy of success, the peace of financial freedom, the warmth of loving relationships, or the fulfillment of your personal ambitions. For example, if you desire financial abundance, don't just picture money in your bank account. Imagine the feelings that would accompany that abundance. Feel the sense of freedom, security, and excitement. How does it feel to pay off your debts with ease? How does it feel to know that you are able to give generously to others, to invest in your dreams, or to live without financial stress? Allow those feelings to wash over you as though they are already your reality. As you do this, you send a powerful signal to your subconscious mind, which then aligns your actions, thoughts, and experiences with this new emotional state. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled also requires you to abandon the doubts and fears that typically arise when you think about your desires. These negative emotions only create resistance and prevent your desires from manifesting. Doubt and fear are the opposite of faith and belief. When you feel doubt, you are acknowledging that what you desire is something outside of yourself, something that you don't yet have. This creates a gap between where you are and where you want to be. But when you let go of doubt and embrace the feeling of fulfillment, you bridge that gap and make your desires a part of your current experience. It's important to recognize that the mind often wants to hold on to the how of manifestation. We tend to believe that we must know how everything will unfold before we can truly experience the fulfillment of our desires. But this is where the power of feeling comes in. You don't need to know how things will come to pass. You only need to focus on the feeling of having it. Trust that the universe, or whatever higher force you believe in, will take care of the detail. Your job is simply to feel the emotions associated with your desire and to trust in the process of creation. These can be a difficult practice for many, especially when external circumstances are not yet reflecting what you desire. However, this is where the true test of faith lies. The ability to live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when the outer world seems to be in opposition, is the practice that separates those who achieve their desires from those who remain stuck. When you can feel the joy, the peace, and the satisfaction of your desire, regardless of what is happening around you, you are teaching your subconscious mind that your new reality is already true. In time, your outer world must reflect what you are feeling on the inside. When you consistently feel the emotions of your wish fulfilled, you are creating new neural pathways in your brain. These pathways reinforce the belief that your desires are already here, and over time, this belief becomes ingrained in your subconscious. Your subconscious mind, which is responsible for creating your external reality, cannot distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. When you focus on feeling the fulfillment of your desires, your subconscious mind takes it as a directive to bring those desires into your physical reality. The more you practice feeling your desires as if they are already yours, the stronger this belief becomes, and the more rapidly your desires materialize. In this process, it's also essential to cultivate an attitude of gratitude. Gratitude is one of the highest vibrations you can emit, and it has the power to magnify everything you are seeking. When you feel grateful for your desires as if they have already come to pass, you accelerate the manifestation process. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It is about embodying the feeling of having what you want and expressing deep appreciation for it. When you can be grateful for what you already have, even if it seems small or insignificant, you create space for more to come into your life. Living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled requires a shift in how you see yourself and the world. You must begin to see yourself as someone who is worthy of everything you desire. The feeling of the wish fulfilled is not just about imagining a better situation or more money. It is about stepping into the consciousness of abundance, success, and self-worth. You must believe deep down that you are worthy of all that you desire, and this belief will naturally reflect in your emotion. Another aspect of this practice is that it requires consistency. It's not enough to feel the emotions of fulfillment for a few moments and then go back to thinking that your desires are distant or impossible. To truly live in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must make it a regular part of your life. Practice feeling the joy, the peace, the success, the love, and all the emotions associated with your desire on a daily basis. Over time, these feelings will become your new reality, and your desires will manifest more rapidly and effortlessly. Ultimately, living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled is about trusting the process of creation. It is about having faith in the unseen and believing that everything you desire is already on its way to you. When you live from this place of fulfillment, you stop chasing after your desires, and instead you allow them to come to you. You become a magnet for everything you've ever wanted. This practice is not just a mental exercise. It is a way of being, thinking, and feeling that aligns your entire being with the life you wish to live. By living in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you embody the very essence of creation itself. Confidence in possession is an essential quality for anyone who seeks to manifest their desires and create the life they dream of. It is not simply about having faith or imagining what you want. It is about the deep, unwavering belief that everything you seek is already yours. This belief is not theoretical or abstract. It is the embodiment of the certainty that what you desire is inevitable, that it exists within you, and that it is waiting to manifest into your reality. Acting from this place of confidence transforms the way you interact with the world and accelerates the manifestation process. When you walk through life with the certainty that your desires are already fulfilled, you shift the very energy you emit. Confidence in possession is about living in the present moment, as though your desires are not things that are coming, but things that are already here. It is not a matter of waiting for external circumstances to change before you begin to believe in your success. Instead, you take the position of someone who already has what they want, and you carry that energy with you into everything you do. This means that your thoughts, actions, and words are all aligned with the knowledge that your desires are already a part of your current reality. The key to acting with confidence in possession is to cultivate a mindset of, I already have it. When you believe that what you desire is already yours, you stop acting as though you are lacking something or waiting for something to happen. You begin to walk with a sense of purpose, knowing that your dreams are not distant or unattainable. They are here within your grasp, and all that is required is your acknowledgement and the embodiment of the feeling of possession. This energy of possession is magnetic, and it draws the things you desire into your life with ease. The power of confidence in possession lies in the ability to remain grounded in this belief, even in the face of challenges or setbacks. When you are certain that what you want is already yours, nothing can shake your belief. It is this unshakable confidence that allows you to persevere when obstacles arise, because you understand that the external world is simply a reflection of your internal state. The more you embody the feeling of having what you desire, the more the external world begins to conform to your inner reality. This is where true power lies, not in what happens around you, but in how you respond to it. If you believe that your desires are already a part of your life, external circumstances cannot convince you otherwise. And this kind of confidence also manifests in how you carry yourself. When you walk through the world with the certainty that you possess everything you want, your energy shifts, and people begin to treat you in accordance with the energy you are emitting. This does not mean that you need to be arrogant or boastful. It means that you carry yourself with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth and understands their power. People are naturally drawn to this kind of energy, and opportunities begin to present themselves as a result. When you know you are worthy of your desires, the universe begins to align everything in your favor. Furthermore, confidence in possession means trusting that the universe is always working in your favor. It is not about forcing things to happen or trying to manipulate circumstances. Instead, it is about being in alignment with the flow of life and trusting that everything you desire is already on its way to you. The universe does not respond to desperation or neediness. It responds to confidence, assurance, and trust. When you trust that your desires are already fulfilled, you allow the universe to bring them to you in the perfect way and at the perfect time. You let go of the need to control every detail because you understand that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. One of the most powerful aspects of confidence in possession is the way it impacts your actions. When you are confident that your desires are already yours, you begin to take action as though they are inevitable. You do not wait for things to fall into place before you start moving forward. You act as if success, abundance, love, or whatever it is you desire is already a part of your life. This creates a sense of momentum that propels you toward your goals. Confidence in possession eliminates the feeling of being stuck or paralyzed by fear. Instead of questioning whether you can achieve your dreams, you take bold, decisive action, knowing that everything is unfolding in alignment with your vision. This confidence is also deeply connected to self-worth. When you truly believe that you are deserving of all that you desire, you stop doubting your ability to create the life you want. Confidence in possession requires you to recognize your inherent value and to stop seeking validation or approval from others. When you understand that you already possess everything you need within you, you no longer rely on external factors to determine your worth. You begin to trust your own intuition and inner guidance, which leads you to take the right actions at the right time. This inner certainty is what allows you to manifest your desires with ease, because you are no longer looking outside yourself for confirmation that you can have what you want. It is important to understand that confidence in possession is not about pretending or faking it until you make it. It is about genuinely aligning yourself with the truth that everything you desire is already yours. This alignment is what gives you the strength to stay grounded in the feeling of fulfillment regardless of your external circumstances. The more you embody this belief, the more your reality will reflect it. The act of living as though your desires are already fulfilled is the very act of creation. It is the process of bringing your inner vision into the physical world by consistently acting as though it is already real. The energy of confidence in possession also protects you from the negativity or skepticism of others. When you are certain of your worth and your power, the opinions of others cannot sway you. You are no longer dependent on their approval or validation to feel secure in your own abilities. This independence of thought and belief strengthens your confidence as you become less concerned with what others think or say. Instead, you are focused on your own truth and the knowing that your desires are already yours. Confidence in possession is also about overcoming fear. Fear often arises when we doubt our ability to achieve our dreams, or when we worry that we will never reach our goals. But when you act as if you already possess everything you desire, fear begins to dissipate. Confidence in possession allows you to step into your full power and embrace the unknown with excitement rather than dread. Fear is simply a reflection of uncertainty, but when you live as though your desires are already realized, you no longer have room for fear. The more you trust that everything is already yours, the less you will be affected by the fear that once held you back. Living with confidence in possession is an ongoing practice, one that requires you to consistently align your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the belief that everything you desire is already yours. As you embody this state of being, you become a magnet for your desires, and they begin to unfold before you with grace and ease. Confidence in possession is the key to manifesting your dreams. It is the unwavering belief that what you seek is already on its way to you. When you live from this place of certainty, nothing is impossible. Your desires are not distant or unattainable. They are already yours, and the universe is simply waiting for you to acknowledge it. The practice of remaining persistent in your belief is one of the most powerful aspects of manifestation. It is easy to feel inspired and hopeful when things are going well, but the true strength of your inner power emerges when you continue to trust and believe in the fulfillment of your desires, even when external circumstances seem to contradict them. Persistence is not simply about holding on to a wish or desire with force. It is about cultivating an unwavering faith that your desires are already on their way, regardless of what you see in the external world. This persistence in belief becomes the foundation for transformation. To persist in your belief is to stay grounded in your vision and to maintain your focus on the truth of your desires even when external reality may suggest otherwise. Often, the external world presents challenges, delays, or situations that appear to be in opposition to what we want. This is where many people falter. They allow these outward signs to shake their belief, to cause them to question the possibility of their desires coming to fruition. However, to persist in your belief is to rise above these doubts and trust that the universe, or whatever higher force you believe in, is always working in your favor, even when you cannot see the immediate evidence of it. The persistence of belief requires patience. This does not mean simply waiting passively, but rather continuing to live with the deep knowing that what you desire is already in motion. Patience is an active state of trust. It means that you continue to carry yourself as though your desires are already fulfilled, even when there is no immediate evidence to support that claim. The key to this is emotional alignment. When you persist in the belief that what you want is already on its way, you must keep your emotional state in harmony with that belief. It is about maintaining the feeling of fulfillment, joy, and satisfaction that would come with having your desires already realized. This emotional alignment is what keeps you grounded in your belief, even when everything around you appears uncertain. When you feel doubt creeping in or notice that your circumstances have not yet aligned with your desires, remember that this is part of the process. In those moments, you must reinforce your belief by returning to the emotional state of having your desire already fulfilled. You do this by revisiting the emotions and sensations of what it will feel like when your desire becomes a reality. If your desire is financial abundance, for example, recall the emotions of security, freedom, and gratitude that you would feel. If your desire is a loving relationship, focus on the feelings of warmth, companionship, and unconditional love. When you do this, you are teaching your mind and body that your desire is already here and that no outer condition can take it away. Persistence also means that you do not give in to the temptation of discouragement. The world can often present what seems like setbacks or delays, but these are merely temporary moments that test the strength of your belief. True persistence comes from remaining unwavering in your focus, no matter what the world shows you in the moment. It's easy to feel discouraged when things don't immediately align with your desires, but those are the very moments that your belief needs to be the strongest. The universe works in mysterious ways, and often, things must align in ways we cannot yet understand. What may appear as a setback may, in fact, be a necessary step in the fulfillment of your desire. By staying persistent, you allow the universe to orchestrate the most perfect conditions for the manifestation of your dreams. One of the greatest challenges in maintaining persistence in belief is overcoming the fear that your desires won't come to fruition. Fear often arises when there is a gap between your current reality and your desired outcome. The more you focus on the gap, the stronger the fear becomes. But when you persist in your belief, you are not focusing on what is missing or what seems out of reach. Instead, you are focused on the belief that your desire is already in motion. You trust that everything is happening according to plan, even if you cannot yet see the results. This shift in focus from lack to fulfillment is key in overcoming fear. It's about fully surrendering to the belief that the universe is already arranging everything for your highest good, and that nothing is out of your reach. Persistence in belief also requires that you release attachment to the how of manifestation. One of the greatest mistakes people make is to try to figure out exactly how their desires will come to pass. The how is not your job to determine. It is the universe's role to figure out the details. When you persist in your belief, you trust that the universe will take care of the how in ways that are far better than you could ever imagine. Your job is to remain emotionally aligned with your desires and to act as if they are already true. This is where many people go wrong. They hold on to their desire with one hand but keep their other hand open, anxiously trying to control the outcome. This energy of trying to control is a sign of doubt and fear, and it creates resistance. Persistence means letting go of the need to control how things unfold and trusting in the divine timing of the universe. When you persist in your belief, you also remain open to receiving your desires in unexpected ways. Sometimes the fulfillment of your desires may not look exactly as you envisioned it. The universe may have a better plan in mind, one that exceeds your expectations. By staying persistent, you keep yourself open to receiving in whatever form your desires may take. This requires flexibility and an open mind. You must trust that the fulfillment of your desires will come in a way that is aligned with your highest good, even if it is not exactly what you envisioned. Persistence is about being open to the possibilities and trusting the unfolding process. Another aspect of persistence in belief is the importance of self-talk. The way you speak to yourself greatly impacts the strength of your belief. If you are constantly doubting yourself, questioning whether you will ever achieve your desires, or speaking negatively about your situation, you are reinforcing a belief in lack and limitation. However, when you persist in speaking words of affirmation, encouragement, and trust, you strengthen your belief in the fulfillment of your desires. Speak as though your desires are already manifest, and remind yourself regularly that everything you want is on its way. Affirm your worthiness, your power, and your ability to create the life you desire. By doing so, you create a mental and emotional environment that is conducive to manifestation. Persistence in belief also requires surrounding yourself with positivity. The people you interact with, the media you consume, and the environments you place yourself in all influence your thoughts and feelings. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity or people who doubt your abilities, it will be much harder to maintain your belief in the face of challenges. Choose to be around those who uplift you, who believe in you, and who share a similar mindset. Feed your mind with positive, affirming thoughts and expose yourself to things that inspire you. This positive reinforcement will strengthen your belief and make it easier to remain persistent, no matter what is happening externally. The process of persistence in belief is not a passive one. It requires active participation in your own manifestation process. Every moment of doubt, every challenge, and every setback is an opportunity for you to reaffirm your belief and trust in the universe. When you persist in believing that your desires are already fulfilled, you begin to shift your inner world to match the reality you wish to create. Over time, this persistent belief will become second nature, and your desires will unfold effortlessly before you. Persistence in your belief is the key that unlocks the doors to your dreams. It is the unwavering faith that your desires are already in motion, regardless of the challenges that may arise. By remaining steadfast in your belief, you create a powerful magnet for the things you want to manifest. Trust, patience, and unwavering faith are the qualities that make persistence in belief a transformative force in your life. The power of living in the present moment is one of the most profound truths of manifestation. It's easy to get caught up in thoughts about the future or dwell on past experiences. But the key to manifesting what you desire lies in your ability to fully immerse yourself in the now. Many people mistakenly think that they will be happy or fulfilled once their desires come to fruition. This future-based mindset keeps them in a state of longing and lack, rather than cultivating the abundant feeling of already having what they want. To truly manifest your desires, you must live in the present as though your desires are already realized. This isn't just about pretending or daydreaming, it's about embodying the emotional state of fulfillment in the present moment. The essence of living in the present is understanding that the present is all you truly have. The past is gone and the future has yet to come. The present moment is where your power lies. This is where you can make a shift in your energy, your emotions, and your thoughts. When you focus on the present moment, you align your inner world with the reality you wish to create. This alignment is the key to manifesting your desire. Living in the present means that you stop postponing your happiness and fulfillment until the future. You stop waiting for your external circumstances to change before you feel abundant, joyful, or successful. Instead, you begin to feel those things now. When you begin to act as if you already possess what you desire, you change the energy you are sending out into the universe. The law of attraction is always at work, and the energy you emit into the world is what will come back to you. If you're constantly waiting for your desires to manifest before you feel good, you are essentially sending out an energy of lack and need. On the other hand, if you feel abundant and grateful now, regardless of your current situation, you send out an energy of abundance that will attract more of the same. To live in the present moment is to choose to be fully engaged with the here and now, without distractions or anxieties about what might happen in the future. It means embracing each moment with the understanding that what you focus on and what you feel in the present is what shapes your reality. Your thoughts and emotions are always in motion, and they are constantly creating your future. So, the most powerful thing you can do is to focus on what you want in the present moment, as though it has already arrived. You do this by imagining and feeling the emotions associated with your desires as if they are already true. This practice is particularly powerful because it helps you to cultivate a sense of ownership over your desires. When you live in the present moment, you claim the feelings of success, fulfillment, and joy as your own. You stop seeing these feelings as something that is outside of you, something that you need to acquire in the future. Instead, you begin to embody them now. For example, if your desire is to live in a beautiful home, you can begin to act as if you already live there. You can picture yourself walking through the rooms of your ideal house, feeling the comfort, peace, and joy that come with having that space. You begin to feel that sense of home within you, and it becomes a part of your present reality. This emotional alignment sends a signal to the universe that you are ready to receive what you desire. Living in the present moment also means releasing the need for validation or approval from others. Often we wait for external circumstances to change or for others to approve of us before we feel good about ourselves or our achievements. But the power of living in the now is in realizing that your worth is not dependent on others' opinions or external achievements. You can feel complete, worthy, and abundant in this very moment. By shifting your focus inward, you stop giving away your power to the future or to the opinions of others. Instead, you start validating yourself and feeling good about who you are right now. One of the most transformative aspects of living in the present is letting go of fear. Fear often arises when we focus on what might happen in the future or dwell on past experiences that cause pain. When we live in the present, We recognize that we are safe and supported in the now. The future, which can often be a source of anxiety, does not exist yet. The past is gone. All you have is the moment you are living in right now. By focusing on this present moment, you remove the fear of the unknown and release the hold that past experiences may have had on you. This is incredibly powerful because fear is one of the greatest blockers to manifestation. When you are fearful, you send out a vibration of lack and limitation. But when you live in the present moment, grounded and centered in who you are, fear has no place in your life. To live in the present moment is to embrace gratitude. Gratitude is one of the most potent emotions that can shift your vibration and align you with your desires. When you are grateful for what you have now, you create a powerful force of attraction that draws more of what you want into your life. Gratitude shifts your focus from what is missing to what is already present. It allows you to see the abundance that exists right now, no matter your circumstance. This practice is incredibly important because it trains your mind to focus on the positive aspects of your life, rather than what you lack or what hasn't yet manifested. When you are grateful for the present, you align yourself with the frequency of abundance. Living in the present also requires a deep trust in the process of manifestation. When you are focused on the present moment, you understand that everything is unfolding in divine timing. You stop rushing or forcing things to happen according to your own timeline. Instead, you surrender to the flow of life, knowing that everything is happening exactly as it should. This trust in the process frees you from the stress and anxiety that often come with trying to control the outcome of your desires. When you trust that everything is unfolding for your highest good, you create a peaceful and abundant energy that draws your desires toward you. By living in the present, you release the need for approval from the outside world. This is one of the most liberating aspects of the practice. When you fully embrace the present, you begin to realize that your power is within you. You do not need others to validate your dreams or to tell you that you are worthy. You already know that you are worthy because you feel it in the present moment. This inner knowing becomes your foundation, and it radiates outward, attracting the experiences, people, and opportunities that align with your desires. The power of living in the present moment is immense. It is the key to unlocking your potential and aligning yourself with the life you desire. When you focus on the now, you stop postponing your happiness and success. You start to embody the feelings of having your desires already fulfilled, which sends out a powerful signal to the universe. The more you live in the present, the more your reality begins to reflect the energy you are putting out. By focusing on the present, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with your desires, and you open yourself up to receiving them in perfect divine timing. This is the essence of true manifestation, living as if you already possess everything you desire, right here, right now. Everything in your life responds to the assumption you hold about yourself. The world, with all its seeming solidity and separateness, is but a mirror, faithfully reflecting the image you cast within your own imagination. When you dare to act as if you already possess that which you desire, you step into the law that governs all creation. Consciousness creates reality. It is not arrogance, it is alignment with truth. You are not meant to wait for external proof before you believe. That is the way of the world, but you are not bound by that law. You belong to a higher order of being, where the invisible precedes the visible. When you walk with the inner knowing that everything is already yours, the world has no choice but to shape itself around your state of being. You do not beg, you do not wish, you assume. Quietly, confidently, you move as one who already owns it all. To act as if you own everything is not to dominate others, but to master yourself. It is to sit calmly in the awareness that all power lies within you. There is nothing outside of you to gain, only within to awaken. And when you awaken to the truth that your imagination is the source, you stop chasing and start allowing. You begin to live in the end, thinking from the place where the desire is already fulfilled. Feel what it is like to possess that which you long for, not as something distant, but as something here, now, in this moment. Dwell in that feeling. Let it soak into every corner of your mind. Speak from that place, walk from that place, breathe from that place. You are not pretending, you are proclaiming. You are not faking, you are faithfully assuming your rightful place as the operant power. The world cannot resist a man or woman who knows who they are. It bows to those who move not by sight, but by inner certainty. To act as if you own everything is to say to life, I know who I am, and I accept that everything already belongs to me in consciousness. The outer world is merely catching up to the inner command. So step boldly, speak freely, love deeply, and expect fully. All things are already yours. Everything you experience in this life is a reflection of your inner state. There is nothing outside of you that holds more power than what you assume and accept within. The great secret that many overlook is this: your consciousness is the only reality. The moment you understand that, you begin to live life on a different level. You stop reacting to the world and start creating from within it. Most people believe that circumstances are fixed, that life happens to them based on luck, chance, or the actions of others. But if you trace every experience back to its root, you will find it began in thought, a belief, a feeling, an assumption. These invisible seeds planted in consciousness eventually manifest as the tangible events and people in your life. The outer world is a mirror. It has no life of its own. It only reflects what is alive in you. When you assume something to be true, whether it's about your health, your relationships, your finances, or your identity, that assumption sets the course of your life. It might not manifest instantly, but it begins to move everything around you to match the vibration you've chosen. You cannot hold a dominant belief in lack and expect abundance. You cannot feel unworthy and continuously attract love. You cannot see yourself as powerless and manifest strength. The universe only echoes back what you are. This is not just a philosophy, it is a law. The law of consciousness states that whatever you accept as true within your imagination becomes your experience. You are not the victim of the world, but its author. Every condition, no matter how small or great, began in thought. The moment you begin to change the way you see yourself in your imagination, the world responds. You don't change your life by force. You don't manipulate events, chase people, or struggle to make things happen. You go within and assume the state of the wish fulfilled. You feel the reality of the thing desired as though it is already yours. This is not daydreaming, this is not hoping, it is knowing. It is stepping into the role inwardly and living from that position long before the world reflects it. It is claiming your authority in the unseen. Think about it. Every time you've worried, feared, or doubted, did life seem to match your expectation? Did more fear, more delay, more resistance appear? Not because the world is against you, but because you unknowingly consented to that state. But what if you deliberately assume the best? What if you consistently lived with the knowing that everything is working out for you? That you are supported, loved, abundant, and safe? Your entire world would shift, not through effort, but through inner acceptance. The outer world cannot remain the same when your inner world has changed. That's why sometimes people suddenly fall out of your life. Opportunities appear, money flows, health improves, and ideas come from nowhere. It's not magic. It's the natural response of reality to the shift in your consciousness. You moved, and everything else had to follow. Consciousness doesn't argue. It doesn't judge. It accepts what you offer it. So when you speak words like, I never have enough, or no one really cares, or I always struggle, consciousness takes it as a command. It begins to create in accordance with that belief. And when you say, I am loved, I am wealthy, I am powerful, even if the evidence is not yet visible, consciousness begins rearranging the world to reflect it. This is why it's so important to discipline your inner conversations. What you say to yourself about yourself matters more than anything anyone else says about you. You could be surrounded by doubters, critics, and people who underestimate you, but if you hold firm to your inner assumption of success, love, and greatness, the world will be forced to conform. It may not be instant, but it is inevitable. When you understand that consciousness creates reality, you stop blaming others. You stop waiting for someone to give you permission. You stop feeling stuck. You realize that the only thing that ever needed to change was you, not in the way the world might suggest, not by becoming someone different, but by becoming aware of who you already are. You are not separate from your desires. You are the source of them, and what you can conceive and feel to be true in consciousness is already yours. So what do you choose to believe today? Will you continue to identify with limitation, fear, and unworthiness? Or will you choose a new story, a new identity, a new vibration? The power is always in your hands, because the power is always in your consciousness. Nothing comes into your life except through that channel. Nothing remains unless it is supported by your inner state. To live in alignment with this truth is to walk with calm confidence. You no longer need to beg, chase, or prove anything. You know that as you shift inwardly, everything will unfold in divine order. The right people, the right moments, the right experiences, they are drawn to the version of you that already holds them within. The world cannot withhold what you have already accepted in consciousness. And so, from this day forward, remind yourself gently and often, your imagination is the first cause. The thoughts you persist in become the life you live. The feeling you nurture becomes the environment you wake up to, and the identity you embrace within becomes the destiny you meet without. It has always been this way. You were never at the mercy of the world, you were always creating it. To act from fulfillment is to place yourself mentally and emotionally in the state of already having what you desire. It's not about pretending or tricking the world, it's about shifting your inner awareness to the version of yourself where the thing you want is already part of your life. When you live from this state, your actions, thoughts, and feelings begin to flow naturally from a place of inner certainty rather than desperate effort. You no longer try to achieve, you express what already is. Most people live their lives reacting to the world, waiting for conditions to improve before they allow themselves to feel secure, happy, or loved. But this is backwards. The world reflects your inner state. If you wait to see change before you feel it, you will always be waiting. You must dare to feel it first. You must dare to believe that it is done, even when the physical evidence is missing. This is not delusion, this is faith in the unseen, the power that animates all creation. You do not become wealthy by constantly reminding yourself of your lack. You do not find love by focusing on loneliness. You do not succeed by dwelling in failure. You become these things by embodying them inwardly. When you act from fulfillment, your imagination becomes your reality. You stop trying to get and start being. And being is where all transformation begins. Imagine a person who desires to be confident. If they wait until others approve of them or until the fear disappears, they will remain timid. But if that same person begins to act as though they already are confident, speaking with clarity, holding themselves with grace, trusting their intuition, everything in their world will begin to shift. Why? Because they are no longer asking life for confidence, they are living from it. The same applies to any state: abundance, joy, success, peace. To live from the end is to occupy the state of your wish fulfilled so completely that your present reality is no longer your reference point. You stop checking the world to see if it's working. You stop needing signs or confirmations. You live in a quiet knowing that your assumption, held with feeling, will harden into fact. It must. The law cannot be broken. As within, so without. This approach doesn't mean you sit still and do nothing. It means that whatever you do is guided by the version of you that already knows it's done. You may still take action, but it is no longer forced. It is inspired. You no longer act to achieve something, but because you are already being the person who has achieved it. Every movement flows from that fulfilled state. You're not trying to become, You're allowing what already is to unfold. The beautiful paradox is that when you stop striving and start assuming, things begin to move, people show up, opportunities open, circumstances arrange themselves. It's as if the entire universe responds to the shift in your being. And it does, because life is not happening to you, it's happening through you. The world is responding to your inner command, your inner stance. If you say, I am, and follow it with certainty, everything must conform. And yet this way of living requires trust. Trust not in something outside of you, but in your ability to choose a new state, to hold a vision without seeing immediate evidence, to feel the joy of the outcome before it arrives. This is the great test. Can you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled when nothing around you has changed? Can you remain loyal to your unseen reality? Most give up too quickly. They fall back into doubt, fear, and questioning. They return to the old state and then wonder why nothing changes. But the outer world is always a delayed mirror. What you see now is simply the echo of what you previously assumed. And what you assume now will show up in time if you remain faithful to it. Faithfulness is not rigid effort. It's a gentle, repeated returning to the feeling of already having it. Throughout your day, bring yourself back to that place. Speak, walk, and think as though it is true. Let the inner experience of fulfillment be so real that it becomes your dominant vibration. You don't force it, you allow it. You don't fake it, you feel it. And through that feeling, you impress the new state upon your subconscious mind. You must come to understand that life does not change because you desperately want it to. It changes because you become someone new inwardly, the one who is already living in the answered prayer, the one who no longer seeks, but gives thanks. Gratitude is one of the purest expressions of acting from fulfillment. It says, I already have it, and I am thankful, not because you're hoping to get something, but because in your world you already have it. This is why imagination is so powerful. It allows you to mentally construct a scene that implies your desire is fulfilled and feel it into being. A conversation, a moment, a simple snapshot that you loop in your mind with emotion and clarity. And when done consistently, your subconscious mind begins to accept it as true. And what the subconscious accepts, the world must mirror. Think of someone deeply in love. They move differently, they radiate, they attract more love, not because they're looking for it, but because they are it. Their state produces the experience, and the same is true for abundance, peace, success, or anything else. When you embody the state inwardly, it begins to show up outwardly. So stop trying to get, stop waiting for signs, stop treating your desires as something distant. They are here now within you. Claim them. Life from them. Let your inner world become more real than your outer world. And watch without resistance as everything begins to shift. Not because you fought to make it happen, but because you aligned with the reality where it already had. The way you feel about yourself is the foundation of everything you experience in life. It determines how you see the world and how the world responds to you. When you walk into a room believing you are small, unnoticed, or unworthy, your energy carries that message and others mirror it back to you. But when you embody a deep sense of inner confidence, when you walk, speak, and think from the place of knowing who you are, the world cannot help but respond in kind. The external always bows to the internal. You do not become confident by waiting for evidence. You do not wait for someone to approve of you before you decide that you are worthy. Confidence is not something handed to you, it is something you claim. It begins with an inner decision, a subtle yet powerful shift in awareness. It is the moment you say, I am enough as I am. Not because the world told you so, but because you have decided to stand in that truth, regardless of circumstances. The moment you choose to believe in yourself, everything changes. Your voice carries more strength. Your posture becomes firm, your gaze is steady. You no longer seek validation because you have already validated yourself. And when you move from this place, people feel it, opportunities feel it, life feels it. You begin to experience situations that reflect your new state of being because you are no longer doubting, hiding, or apologizing for who you are. This confidence is not arrogance. It is not built on ego or comparison. It is quiet, steady, rooted in truth. It is the awareness that you are already whole, already connected to the infinite source of all that is. There is nothing missing within you. When you accept this, when you embrace it and live from it, you no longer need to fight for your place. You realize you were never meant to shrink to fit into small spaces. You were meant to expand. There is a version of you who already feels this way. A version who walks with purpose, who speaks with clarity, who acts without fear. That version of you is not separate. It is not a dream. It is already present in your imagination. And the more you dwell in that identity, the more you feel what it feels like to be that version, the more the world around you rearranges to meet it. You may say, but how can I feel confident when I've failed? When I've been rejected? When I've been told I'm not enough? You can, because none of that defines you unless you allow it to. Every past experience is simply a reflection of the state you once occupied. It has no power over the present moment unless you drag it forward and wear it like a costume. You can remove that costume, you can choose a new role, and confidence begins with that choice. It's in the way you speak to yourself when no one is listening. It's in the inner dialogue you carry throughout the day. Do you build yourself up or tear yourself down? Do you declare who you are with love, or do you constantly repeat the language of limitation? Your words shape your world. Speak as someone who knows they matter. Speak as someone who is already the embodiment of the outcome they desire. Confidence also grows through repetition. Every time you act in alignment with your inner power, every time you speak your truth, hold your boundary, or follow your intuition, you are training your subconscious mind to accept this new version of you. Confidence isn't a feeling that arrives suddenly. It is something you cultivate by consistently being who you really are, without fear or apology. Don't wait for the world to notice you before you. Don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. The world is simply a stage, and the roles we play are based on the identities we assume. If you assume the role of someone who is uncertain, you will receive scripts that reflect uncertainty. But if you assume the role of someone who is deeply rooted in self-belief, your entire performance changes. The scenery, the interactions, the plot, it all shifts to match your new identity. To truly walk in confidence, you must let go of needing to convince anyone. You do not need to persuade the world of your worth. You simply need to be it. When you act as though you already are what you wish to be, your actions carry an invisible power. People may not be able to name it, but they feel it. It's magnetic, it's undeniable, it's not forced, it's remembered. It's as if your soul is saying, this is who I've always been. This inner strength does not depend on appearances, achievements, or possessions. It comes from the invisible place within, where you know that your life has meaning and your presence is valuable. When you live from that place, the outer world will eventually mirror it. But even before it does, you are at peace. Because your confidence is not a reaction, it is a state of being. It is possible to walk into any room, face any challenge, speak in any situation, and move with clarity. Not because you have something to prove, but because you have nothing to hide. You are simply expressing the truth of who you are. The real you, the infinite you, is never afraid, never lacking, never small. That version of you is already whole, already radiant, already free. And when you begin to identify with that version, when you make it your dwelling place, nothing in the external world can shake you. This is the essence of true confidence. It is not performance, it is presence. It is not loud, it is steady. It does not demand attention, it attracts it effortlessly. You were not born to doubt yourself, you were born to remember yourself, to return to the place within where you are already enough, already seen, already chosen. And when you begin to live from that remembrance, when you let go of who the world told you to be and step into the power of who you truly are, life opens. Doors unlock, people respect you, challenges feel different, opportunities arise, not because you chased them, but because you align with the version of you that naturally attracts them. You are the one who decides who you are. Not your past, not other people, not your fears. And the moment you decide, really decide, the moment you begin to feel yourself as already confident, already whole, already powerful, your world cannot remain the same. It must reflect the change you've made in consciousness. Because life has no choice but to echo back what you persistently feel yourself to be. You are always creating from the inside out. The outer world is a shadow of your inner state, a mirror reflecting the thoughts and assumptions you hold to be true. If you look around and see lack, limitation, and struggle, it is not because the world is inherently lacking. It is because your inner attention, perhaps unconsciously, has been tuned to those channels. When you shift your inner gaze, when you assume the reality of what you desire as if it were already yours, the mirror must shift accordingly. This is not imagination as fantasy. It is imagination as truth. It is the awareness that what you dwell upon internally must externalize itself in some form. The world cannot help but conform to the assumptions you persist in holding. That is the law. Every effect you see was first a cause within you. When you begin to consciously choose the inner image, the feeling, the assumption that aligns with the life you desire, you step into the role of creator. You stop reacting and start initiating. You stop asking for proof and start being the proof. The universe listens not to your words but to the dominant emotional state you carry. And so you must embody the version of you who already possesses the thing you want, not just occasionally but consistently. That is how you bend reality. You are never waiting for the world to catch up. The world is always waiting for you to shift. What you see as solid and fixed is only the result of a persistent idea held within consciousness. Change the idea and the world must follow. But you must hold the new idea long enough for it to take root. You must believe in it more than you believe in the evidence of your senses. That is the real work. To remain loyal to the unseen, to live from the invisible, to act as though it is already done, even when your outer experience tells you otherwise. This is not about pretending. It is about identifying. There is a version of you that already lives the life you desire. That version is not far away. It is not in the future. It exists now in consciousness. Your job is to align with it, to think from it, not of it, to see the world through the eyes of that version of yourself. What does that version believe? How does that version walk, speak, act? What choices would they make today? When you begin to embody that version of yourself in your inner world, the outer world begins to move. You cannot fake the feeling. The law responds to your dominant state, not your occasional hopes. If you spend 5 minutes a day imagining abundance, but the rest of the day worrying about lack, you are planting conflicting seeds. The soil of life will grow what is most consistently nurtured. So plant with intention. Nurture the feeling of having. Dwell in the experience of already being. Let your inner world become so rich, so vivid, so alive, that the outer world cannot help but bow to it. The reality is malleable. It is not fixed. It bends to your assumption. But assumption is not passive. It is not wishful thinking. It is claiming, inhabiting, becoming. When you assume a thing to be true, you feel from it. You carry it with you like breath. You do not check every moment to see if it has arrived. You know it. You walk in it, you relax into it, and that knowing becomes magnetic. It draws the corresponding experience to you, not because you chased it, but because you match. This is why detachment is not about indifference, it is about confidence. When you are truly in the state of already having, you are not desperate for signs, you are not anxious about timing, you are calm, present, and assured. You understand that life is always catching up to the blueprint you hold within, and so you do not rush the process. You simply remain in the state of already being, already receiving, already living the outcome. Let the world say what it wants. Let circumstances look how they look. Your only job is to persist in the state that matches the life you desire. Let others react, you remain still. Let the noise of the outer world rise and fall. You stay anchored in your inner conviction. Because you know the truth. Your reality is responding to you, not the other way around. You do not need permission to imagine. You do not need evidence to feel. You do not need a sign to begin acting as if it were already true. Everything starts within you. Every breakthrough, every miracle, every shift. It begins with an internal movement, a quiet but powerful assumption that says, this is already mine. And the moment you make that internal move, everything around you begins to align. Even now, you are planting seeds. With every thought, every reaction, every belief, you are shaping your tomorrow. So be deliberate, be conscious, be intentional. Don't let the world dictate your inner state. Let your inner state dictate your world. This is the secret, to persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled until it becomes fact. Every desire you have is valid. It was placed in your heart because it is already possible. You would not long for something unless some version of you already had it. And when you accept this, when you stop asking if it's possible and start assuming that it's done, you shift into a different vibration. The universe responds to that vibration. People show up, resources appear, paths open. Not because you forced it, but because you tuned into the version of reality where it was already yours. Your imagination is the preview of what is to come. Not because it shows you something far off in the distance, but because it shows you what already exists in the unseen. Dwell there. Return to it often. Live in it, speak from it, walk in it. Let your days be filled with the quiet confidence of one who knows who they are and what they possess. Not because the world said so, but because you have claimed it within. You are not creating from scratch. You are selecting, choosing, occupying. You are moving through states of consciousness, and the world is reflecting back the one you are most identified with. So identify with the version of you that is free, powerful, successful, loved. Assume it, feel it, let it saturate your thoughts, and you will see the outer world rearrange itself, not by chance, but by law. Because consciousness is the only reality, and you are its master. The outer world will always reflect back the version of you that you consistently embody. You are not meeting life as a passive participant. You are encountering yourself in every experience. Everything that happens to you is an echo of who you are being. The moment you truly understand this, you stop blaming circumstances, people, or timing. You realize that nothing is outside your power because nothing can show up that doesn't correspond to the assumptions you live by. The world is not testing you, it is mirroring you. This is why acting as if is so powerful. When you act as if you own everything, as if you already are the version of you that has it all, you activate a new pattern of energy within yourself. That energy draws matching experiences like iron filings to a magnet, not because the world is responding to your performance, but because it's responding to your vibration. When you show up internally as someone who is whole, abundant, confident, and chosen, the world must reflect situations, people, and outcomes that confirm that identity. But if you act from lack, even while trying to manifest abundance, you are still vibrating with the consciousness of the old self. You cannot fake this to the universe. You must genuinely shift into a new state of being. That shift doesn't require external permission. You don't wait for a promotion to feel powerful. You don't wait for a relationship to feel loved. You don't wait for $1 million to feel wealthy. You start feeling now. You start walking into every room as if the room belongs to you. Not from arrogance, but from spiritual certainty. You own the space with grace because you know that consciousness creates reality. It is not about manipulating people or pretending to be something you are not. It is about accepting that you are already the thing you seek. There is no separation between desire and fulfillment except your own belief in time and distance. If you could drop that belief and embody the energy of the version of you who has it all, you would collapse time. You would bring the future into the now, not as a wish, but as a fact. You are not becoming, you are revealing. The truth has always been within you. The world is simply waiting for you to claim it. The minute you stop seeking and start embodying, everything changes. You don't need to force it. You don't need to hustle for worthiness. You need only dwell in the state of ownership. Walk as the version of you who knows how loved, supported, and powerful they are. Think as that person. Speak from that place. Make decisions as if nothing could be taken from you, because when you live in the state of ownership, nothing ever can. Ownership is not about control. It is about alignment. You don't have to control the details when you're aligned with the outcome. If you persist in the inner knowing that you already possess the life you want, the people, the conversations, the timing, all of it will be orchestrated on your behalf. The state you live in becomes the command to the universe, and the universe responds without fail. It is not sometimes, it is not occasionally, it is always. What you embody, you experience. Even when things don't look like they're working, even when it seems like nothing is moving, if you stay true to the state, the world will rearrange. The key is not reacting to the temporary appearance of delay. Delay is only the echo of old assumptions. Don't give life to it. Keep returning to the state of the fulfilled version of yourself. Don't look for signs, be the sign. Be the evidence of your own transformation. Let people feel something different when they're around you, not because you're saying new things, but because you're radiating from a new identity. Your job is not to figure out how it will come. Your job is to embody the version of you to whom it naturally comes. When you shift your state, you shift your fate. All manifestation is self-manifestation. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. So the only question worth asking is, who am I being right now? Am I being the version of me that already has the thing I say I want? Or am I still being the version of me that's waiting, wishing, hoping? The world only knows how to give you more of what you are. Not what you say, not what you beg for, but what you consistently embody. This is not about becoming obsessed or rigid. It's about sinking into the knowing that you are the source of everything you experience. That what shows up around you is your reflection, not your reality. Reality is internal. Circumstances are shadows. Don't be tricked by the illusion. The real power lies in who you are being behind the scenes, when no one is watching, when nothing seems to be moving. That's when your next world is being born. And if you fall out of the state, don't panic. Simply return. Your imagination is the gateway. Enter it again. Feel the feeling of already being, already having, and from that state, speak to the world. Make decisions from that space. Let that version of you guide the day. You'll find the more you do this, the less you're tossed around by appearances. You'll start to notice the world bending, not because you pushed harder, but because you surrendered deeper into the version of you who already owns it all. That's the paradox of ownership. It is not loud, it is calm. It is not desperate, it is sure. It doesn't chase, it magnetizes. And the more you live from that place, the more the world reflects it back to you in ways that are unmistakable. Doors open, conversations shift, money appears, relationships heal, not because you earned it, but because you became it. The mirror has no choice but to show you who you believe yourself to be. So every day remind yourself, you are not asking the world to give you anything, you are simply commanding the reflection by embodying the state. Every situation you encounter is an opportunity to remain in the knowing. Even when it challenges you, especially when it challenges you, stay in the state. Let the outer world yield to the inner one. It always will. It must. Because consciousness is the only reality, and you are always shaping it. The moment you desire something, it is already yours. Creation is finished. All that you seek exists now in the invisible, waiting for your recognition. The universe does not respond to your pleas, it responds to your assumption. You must not wait for the evidence of the senses. You must not demand that the outer world show you signs before you believe. That is the way of delay. The secret lies in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled and living from that state. To act as if it's coming is not pretense, it is alignment. When you walk in faith, you do not look for proof. You become the proof. You do not question the how or when, for you trust the intelligence that governs the unfolding of stars and seasons. Timing is not your concern. Your only task is inner certainty. What you accept in imagination becomes the seed that time must nourish. There is a higher order at work, unseen yet precise. What you assume with full conviction begins to shape your world through a series of unseen bridges. You do not have to build those bridges. You simply have to remain in the state that implies your desire is already yours. Think from it, not of it. Speak as the one who already has. Walk as the one who already knows. Dress, breathe, smile as if the thing were now part of your life. Trust is not passive. It is active participation in the unseen. It is the discipline of imagining with intensity and persistence. It is the willingness to rest in the invisible, to know that what you have assumed must take shape because consciousness is the only reality. Delay is never denial. What you call waiting is simply the time it takes for your inner world to solidify into the outer. Do not let your senses betray you. Do not react to what is, but respond to what will be. Persist in the assumption, even when everything screams the opposite. That is your power. To hold the inner image with such clarity and feeling that the world must conform. Reality bends to imagination when it is sustained by faith. You are not waiting for it to come, you are letting it come through you. The idea that creation is already finished is not merely a comforting thought, it is the foundation of all manifestation. There is nothing new to be created. Everything you could ever desire, every relationship, every opportunity, every state of health or abundance already exists in the unseen. The universe, in its infinite intelligence, has already prepared the outcome the moment you become aware of your desire. Desire is not a signal of lack. It is a signal of availability. You do not long for what does not exist. The very fact that you can imagine something is proof that it is real on some level of consciousness. When you understand that creation is finished, you stop striving and start aligning. You no longer look at your desire as something distant, something that needs to be worked toward or chased. Instead, you begin to rest in the awareness that it is already done. You stop pleading with life to bring it to you, and you begin to dwell in the feeling that it already belongs to you. This shift is subtle yet profound. It is the difference between hoping and knowing, between waiting and receiving. To say creation is finished is to say that every possibility, every potential outcome, every version of your life already exists in the infinite field of consciousness. You do not need to create anything new. You simply need to select what already is. Like tuning a radio, you change your inner frequency to match the reality you desire. You are not building the station, you are tuning in. And the tool you use to change your frequency is your imagination, fused with feeling. Most people live reactively, believing the outer world dictates their inner state. But the truth is the reverse. The outer is the shadow of the inner. When you hold a mental picture with emotional conviction, you begin to activate the version of reality that matches your inner state. You are not a victim of circumstances, you are the creator of them, whether consciously or unconsciously. The moment you accept this, you begin to take full ownership of your life. No longer do you ask, why isn't it here yet? Instead, you declare, it is done, and you begin to walk through life as one who already possesses it. What you see with your physical eyes is only a fragment of reality. The greater world exists beyond the senses, in imagination, in belief, in the unseen patterns of thought and energy. When you understand that creation is finished, you stop arguing with appearances. You no longer allow the senses to dominate your faith. If what you want does not appear in your world yet, it doesn't mean it isn't real. It simply means you have not yet fully embodied the version of yourself who lives in that reality. The moment you become that version, the world must conform. You're constantly moving through states of consciousness. Every state exists now. There is a version of you who is already living in the fulfillment of your desire. There is a version of you who already has the love, the peace, the success you seek. Your job is to embody that state, not someday, but now. Right now, in this moment, you can close your eyes and see yourself in that fulfilled place. You can feel what it's like to be there. You can breathe as if it were true. And the more real it feels within, the more effortlessly it appears without. To create from the idea that creation is finished is to live from the end. You do not take action to make things happen. You take action because you know they already have. Your steps are not driven by desperation but by confidence. You are no longer chasing but receiving. And in this receiving state, everything begins to flow. Synchronicities arise, opportunities find you. The right people appear not because you forced them to, but because you align with the version of yourself that already knows how it feels to live that life. Even time bends to this truth. What you consider the future is simply a shadow cast by your present state. When you change your state now, you shift the timeline. What may have taken years can collapse into moments. This is not magic, it is law. Consciousness is not bound by time. The future you imagine with clarity and feeling already exists and will meet you the moment you live from it. To live as though creation is finished is to rest. Not in passivity, but in certainty. You no longer need to manipulate, struggle, or overanalyze. You simply choose the reality you want to dwell in and persist in that assumption, regardless of outer appearances. That is true faith. Not blind belief, but inner knowing. The kind of knowing that does not waver, even when the senses scream otherwise. You have done enough seeking. You have asked, and it has been given. Now you must believe you have received. This is the hardest part for many because it demands that you let go of the old self, the old story, the identity of lack. But when you release the need to get and embrace the truth that you already are, everything changes. You stop needing the world to give you evidence because you have already decided. And in that decision, in that settled inner stance, the world begins to reflect your truth back to you. Creation is finished and your desires are waiting, not somewhere far away, but within your consciousness, ready to be felt and lived. Every moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are stepping into the version of yourself who already has it. That is the secret. That is the way. You are not becoming, you are remembering. You are not attracting, you are selecting. And in your selection, in your unwavering faith, the invisible becomes visible and the impossible becomes inevitable. To act from the end is to occupy the state of fulfillment before anything in the outer world confirms it. It is to abandon the need for validation from your senses and instead commit fully to the unseen reality that exists within your imagination. This is not about pretending or faking. It is about embodying. When you act from the end, you are not trying to get somewhere. You are being someone. You are stepping into the version of yourself who already has what you once longed for. And you begin to respond to life as if that version of you is your only truth. Most people live in the illusion that their current circumstances are fixed, that they must accept what is before they can move into something new. But the truth is that your outer world is simply a reflection of the inner world you have accepted as real. If you continue to think from a state of lack, your actions will echo that lack. But if you think from the end, if you live as though your desire is already a fact, the world will slowly but surely bend to meet your conviction. You are not reacting to what is, you are creating from what will be. This approach requires a deep shift in identity. You must release the version of yourself who is still waiting, still hoping, still seeking. That self has no power. Power lives in assumption, in faith, in the unwavering inner knowing that you already are what you desire to be. You must ask yourself, how would I think, feel, speak, walk, breathe if I already had it? And then live from that place, not just once in meditation, but consistently, in your day-to-day moments, even when it feels unnatural, especially then. Imagination is not a place you visit, it is the world you live in. When you close your eyes and see yourself with the thing you desire, you are not escaping reality, you are aligning with the deeper reality, one that will become visible as you persist. To act from the end is to trust that your inner world is the cause and your outer world is the effect. It is to reverse the usual order of cause and effect and understand that the unseen creates the seen. You do not wait for the phone call, the opportunity, or the recognition. You live as though it has already come, and you let that feeling guide your next move. There is no room for doubt in this process. Doubt is simply faith in the wrong direction. It is imagination used against yourself. When you find yourself questioning the process, return to the feeling. The feeling is the secret. The feeling is the bridge between the invisible and the visible. When you persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled, even when everything outside looks the same, you are fertilizing the soil of your reality. Eventually the seed must sprout. It has no choice. It is law. This does not mean you will never take action. But the actions you take from the end are entirely different from those you take in desperation. Action from the end is inspired, effortless, and natural. It is not about forcing results, but about responding to the nudges of your deeper self. You may be led to call someone, to show up somewhere, to try something new. And these movements will feel aligned, not strained. They will carry the energy of certainty, not struggle. When you act from the end, you do not need to explain yourself. You no longer seek approval or permission. You have already given yourself permission to become what you imagine. And because you now believe it to be true within, you no longer require others to believe it for you. You walk in quiet confidence, knowing that reality will catch up to your conviction in time. You are no longer the person who waits to see results. You are the person who moves as if results are already done. This mental shift also brings emotional freedom. You are no longer tossed around by circumstances. You are not anxious because you have already arrived. You are not grasping or desperate because you feel whole. And this wholeness, this internal completeness, draws to you all the components of your desire, not because you begged for them, but because you became a match to them. The universe is never holding back from you. It is only mirroring your dominant state of being. The act from the end is to speak differently. Your language changes. You stop talking about what you want and you begin speaking from the place of already having it. Your inner conversations become rich with fulfillment. You catch yourself and shift when you notice lack-based thinking. You train your mind to stay in the state of the wish fulfilled, not just during moments of meditation, but throughout your entire day. This mental discipline becomes your new baseline, your new way of living. There will be moments when the outer world tempts you to give up. You may not see immediate results, but that is not a sign of failure. It is a test of persistence. The outer always lags behind the inner. What you assume today may take time to reflect back. Do not be deceived by appearances. Reality must conform. The only variable is your ability to sustain the inner state regardless of external feedback. This is where most people falter. They return to the old self the moment the world does not agree with their new assumption. But you must hold firm. The assumption must be lived, breathed, and felt as if no other option exists. Even your body responds to this alignment. When you assume the feeling of health, your cells begin to reorganize. You move through the world differently. People notice. They don't always know what has changed, but they feel it. That is the power of embodying the end. It is undeniable, it is magnetic, and it draws the reflection you've held within, because the world cannot help but reflect back to you the truth you most consistently affirm. So you act from the end, not for appearances, not to impress, not to manipulate, but because you are that which you have imagined. And when you act from that place of fullness, you no longer wonder when it will come. You already know it has, it is done, and you are simply letting the pieces fall into place in the most natural, effortless, and often surprising ways. You are not hoping, you are living. You are not asking, you are becoming. This is not wishful thinking, it is spiritual law. The end is already yours. All that remains is for you to move as if it were so. There is a wisdom in the delay, a sacred intelligence in what you call waiting. What appears to be stillness, inactivity, or even resistance from the universe is often the precise unfolding of the unseen. When you plant a seed, you do not tug at the soil every day to see if it has sprouted. You do not question whether nature has forgotten its process. You simply trust that what was planted in fertile ground, with care and intention, will rise when the time is right. In the same way, the desires you plant in the field of consciousness are never ignored. They are growing beneath the surface in silence until their moment of expression arrives. The challenge arises when your physical senses grow impatient. When days turn into weeks and weeks into months, the mind begins to doubt what was once a certainty in your heart. You may begin to question if your imagination was strong enough, if you believed deeply enough, if you did something wrong. But none of that is true. It is not your job to force manifestation. It is only your role to remain loyal to the inner world where your wish is already a fact. The time it takes for that fact to reflect in your world is not a punishment. It is part of the perfection. You see, the universe is not bound by your clock or your calendar. It does not respond to pressure or deadlines. It responds to energy, frequency, and belief. When you align with the state of already having, the mechanism is set in motion. Whether you see results today or in 6 months does not determine the truth of your creation. The manifestation is already finished in the invisible realm. Your responsibility is not to make it appear, but to remain steady in the assumption of its reality. When you trust in the universe's timing, you free yourself from the exhausting cycle of control. You stop analyzing every detail and measuring your worth based on what has or hasn't happened yet. You begin to understand that your desires are not being withheld from you. They are being orchestrated through channels that your limited perspective cannot always perceive. Sometimes, the very thing you are waiting for is aligning through a series of unseen connections, people and events that are moving together in harmony. The universe is not slow, it is exact. Often you are being prepared while you wait. The delay is not just about the thing, it's about the version of you who must receive it. You might be imagining a life of abundance, love, health, or freedom, but you are still holding on to beliefs that contradict that reality. The delay gives you space to let go, to recalibrate, to align your inner world with the very thing you claim to want. This is grace, not punishment. For if you received your desire before you became the person who could live in it fully, you would sabotage it, fear it, or lose it. The timing is not random, it is love in motion. There are times when nothing appears to be happening, and yet within you the greatest work is being done. Your faith is being strengthened. Your identity is being reformed. Your inner conversations are being rewritten. In those quiet seasons when nothing seems to move, the foundation of your new reality is being laid. And when it comes, it will not feel like a surprise, it will feel like a remembering. Because your imagination has already lived it 1,000 times. To trust in divine timing is to walk with peace in your step, to live in the awareness that what you desire is already yours in spirit. And spirit precedes matter. The delay is not denial, it is gestation. Just as a baby is not born the day after conception, your desires are not birthed the moment they are imagined. They must mature within your consciousness. You must live in the vibration of the wish fulfilled, until the world, compelled by the law, reveals it to you. This trust transforms your relationship with life. You stop asking, when will it happen? And you begin affirming, it is happening now. In ways I cannot yet see. You stop checking for signs because you become the sign. Your calm becomes the evidence of faith. Your inner stability becomes the proof of your knowing. This kind of trust is magnetic. It draws all things to you with ease. You become the still point in the center of the storm, and from that place all things flow. When you truly trust, you no longer panic at temporary appearances. You do not let the lack of evidence disturb your peace. You have seen it in your mind, and that is enough. The rest is formality. This level of trust is not passive, it is powerful. It is not idle, it is active in the deepest sense. It requires courage to walk in faith when all you see suggests otherwise. But this is where your creative power is proven, not in the instant manifestation, but in your sustained knowing. There may be moments of testing, moments when it feels like everything is going in the opposite direction. But these moments are opportunities to remain unmoved, to deepen your conviction, to anchor more firmly into the state of the wish fulfilled. The temptation to give up is greatest just before the shift occurs. But if you hold your ground, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, the universe must conform. It is law. It cannot do otherwise. The world responds to your dominant state, and when your dominant state is one of peace, faith, and trust, in perfect timing, the world begins to reorder itself around that frequency. You stop chasing, you stop striving, you stop begging, you simply are. And in that being, everything is drawn to you. The right people, the right ideas, the right circumstances, they come because you have created the inner environment for them to thrive. Even delays begin to look different when you view them through this lens. You start to realize that what felt like a delay was actually protection, that closed doors were redirections, that the timing you resisted was the very thing that ensured your expansion. You no longer resist the pace of the universe, you dance with it. You align with its rhythm. You learn to hear its silent music, to feel its flow, and to move in harmony with it. So you continue to imagine, to affirm, to live in the state of already having. But you release the grip on how and when. You understand that the how and the when are none of your business. Your only business is to remain faithful to the vision, to embody the end, and to trust that it is all unfolding in a way that serves your highest good. The timing is perfect, even now, even here, especially in the waiting. When you remain in a state of the wish fulfilled, you are no longer hoping, desiring, or asking for something to come. You are resting in the knowing that it is already done. This is the great secret. You are not waiting for something outside of you to shift. You are choosing to dwell internally in the reality that your desire is already yours. And from this internal dwelling, everything changes. Your world reshapes itself, not through force or effort, but through alignment. To remain in the state of the wish fulfilled means you stop reacting to the world of appearances as if it has the final say. The senses may scream otherwise. Circumstances may suggest the opposite of your desire. But you do not move. You do not let the outer world shake the inner conviction. You understand that the physical world is only a reflection of past assumptions. What you see today is not what is, it is what was, a product of earlier imaginal activity. If you wish to change it, you must not wrestle with the mirror, you must change the image in your mind. Living from the end is not pretending, it is assuming with full confidence that what you have imagined is your truth. It is not a performance for the world, it is an inner knowing that requires no proof to feel real. You walk differently, you speak differently, you think differently, not because you're trying to manipulate reality, but because you already claimed it in consciousness. You're not saying, I hope this happens. You're saying, this is who I am now. This state becomes your dwelling place. You wake up with it, you sleep with it, you return to it throughout the day. And each time you return to it, you reinforce its reality. Your inner conversations begin to reflect the new state. You no longer talk to yourself as someone who is lacking or striving or reaching. You speak from the fullness of having. Your thoughts become congruent with your desire. I am already that replaces I hope to be. That shift, subtle as it may seem, is the most powerful transformation you can make. Your emotions begin to follow your assumption. When you dwell in the state of your wish fulfilled, you start to feel the peace, joy, and relief of already having. There is no need to grasp, no anxiety, no restlessness. You are no longer wondering if it's coming. You're simply experiencing it as if it already arrived. And because your subconscious mind accepts feelings as reality, it goes to work to externalize that state into form. You are impressing upon the deeper layers of yourself the truth of your new identity. Many fail not because they cannot imagine, but because they do not persist in the state. They visit it briefly and then abandon it at the first sign of contradiction. They allow the world to dictate their inner reality instead of holding firm to the vision. But true power lies in remaining loyal to your assumption no matter what appears. If the outer contradicts the inner, you do not panic. You double down. You say, "This too will conform, for I have imagined otherwise." The key is consistency. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot dwell in lack and expect abundance to arrive. You cannot affirm health while rehearsing illness in your mind. The state you remain in becomes the atmosphere of your life, and you remain in it by mentally returning to it over and over again until it becomes familiar, until it becomes home. Your imagination is not merely a tool, it is the creative center of your being. Every time you think from the end, you are touching the infinite. You are collapsing the illusion of time and bringing your desire into now. This is not a passive act. It is the most potent form of creation. The more vividly and frequently you imagine, the more natural it becomes. Eventually, it is no longer effortful to dwell in the new state. It becomes automatic. And when it is automatic, it is inevitable. Remaining in the state also transforms how you see the world. You begin to interpret events through the lens of your fulfilled desire. Even delays, disruptions, or obstacles appear as part of the unfolding. You no longer see them as threats, but as bridges. You trust that every moment is carrying you toward what is already yours. This faith gives you a new kind of calm, a deep inner security that cannot be shaken. Relationships shift, opportunities appear, circumstances rearrange. But none of this surprises you because you have already lived it in consciousness. The world is simply catching up. You are not reacting to life, you are leading it from within. And as you lead from the assumption of already having, you attract everything that matches it. You are no longer asking the world to give you something. It is giving back what you have already claimed. This is not arrogance. This is not fantasy. This is the law. It is the nature of consciousness to reflect what is impressed upon it. You impress the subconscious through feeling, repetition, and conviction. And you sustain the impression by remaining in the state even when the outer world tempts you to abandon it. This is the discipline of the true creator, to remain faithful to the unseen until it becomes seen. It may feel unnatural at first to walk in this new state. Your senses may rebel. Your old thoughts may rise up in protest. But if you persist, if you return to the end over and over again, your inner world will eventually stabilize. And when it does, the outer must obey. For the outer is the shadow of the inner. Change the cause, and the effect must change. So you continue day by day, moment by moment, living from the fulfilled desire. You affirm it in your words, you feel it in your heart, you see it in your imagination, and you trust completely that everything is unfolding perfectly. You are not waiting for it, you are being it now. And that is the true secret of creation. Not in waiting, but in being. Not in hoping, but in knowing. The state of the wish fulfilled is your reality. Everything else is just catching up. The greatest secret of manifestation lies in understanding that timing is not yours to control, it is the universe's. And the universe is never late. It does not operate by the clock on your wall or the urgency of your emotions. It works by law, by order, by perfect intelligence that orchestrates all things for your good. To trust in the universe's timing is to release the need to rush, to push, or to question. It is to rest in the stillness of knowing that what is yours will come, not when you demand it, but when you are ready to receive it. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up the next morning to check if it has grown. You trust the soil. You trust the process. You understand that growth happens beneath the surface before it is seen above it. So it is with your desires. They germinate in the unseen realm first. They take root in your imagination. They are nurtured by your faith, and in due season they appear. But if you try to force the harvest before its time, you spoil the process. You damage the roots. You interrupt the flow. The moment you imagine something clearly and with conviction, the universe begins to move. It is not idle, it is not ignoring you, it is rearranging reality in ways you cannot yet perceive. People are being positioned, opportunities are forming, circumstances are aligning. But you must wait, not with frustration, but with trust, because the waiting is not punishment. It is preparation. It is giving you space to become who you need to be in order to hold what you've asked for. Often, delays are not delays at all. They are divine pauses that protect you. You may think you're ready, but the universe knows the deeper truth. It sees beyond what you see, and so sometimes it withholds not to deny you, but to mature you, to stretch your faith, to refine your intention, to remove what you cannot carry into the next chapter. The delay is love disguised as silence. It is the universe saying, not yet, but soon. The ego hates this. It wants immediate proof. It wants confirmation on its schedule. But the soul understands a deeper rhythm. It knows that everything is unfolding in divine order, so it relaxes. It lets go of deadlines and outcomes. It detaches from the need to know how or when. It trusts that what is meant for it cannot miss it, that what it imagines with faith must come to pass, if it will only hold the feeling and let go of the fear. This surrender is not weakness, it is the highest strength. Because it requires you to give up control and step into alignment. You stop trying to make things happen and start allowing them to happen. You become a vessel, not a victim. You say to life, I trust you. And life responds, because trust is magnetic. It calls to itself the very thing it waits for. It prepares the soil for miracles. You may not know the exact hour or day your desire will unfold, but you can live as though it already has. That's the essence of creation. Not waiting in doubt, but living in faith. Not pausing your joy until arrival, but celebrating in advance. That celebration is a signal. It tells the universe, I believe I am ready. And the universe, in its perfect timing, responds in ways that often exceed your imagination. If you try to measure your progress with your physical eyes, you will be discouraged, because much of the work is invisible. Like roots growing underground, it is silent but alive. You may look around and see nothing happening, but beneath the surface, everything is changing. Don't be fooled by appearances. The visible is always the last to know. The transformation starts within, and the outer must follow. That is law. Faith is not just believing in the end result. It is trusting every step of the journey, even when the step is stillness. Even when doors seem closed, you trust that all things are working together for your good, even when they feel delayed or denied. You trust because you know that life responds not to worry but to confidence, not to impatience but to surrender. There is a flow in life, and that flow is wise. If you try to force it, you step out of harmony. You struggle, you resist, you suffer. But if you surrender to it, you find peace. Even in uncertainty, even in silence. Because you have chosen to believe that your imagination has already set the wheels in motion. And that belief becomes your anchor. You do not drift with doubt. You remain steady in the unseen. Sometimes the universe is not asking you to wait. It is asking you to become, to rise into the version of yourself who naturally receives the very thing you desire. And that rising takes time. It takes trust. It takes the courage to stand in the middle of the unknown and say, I know it's coming. I don't need to chase it. I choose to become it. And as you become it, it becomes you, because reality reflects identity. So you walk by faith, not by sight. You act as if, you think as if, you feel as if. Not because you're pretending, but because you're aligning. The outer will catch up, it always does. Because time is not your enemy, it is your ally. It gives space for the unseen to become seen. It makes room for the impossible to become possible. You do not need to beg the universe to move. It moves the moment you do. Internally, energetically, imaginally. Your job is not to figure out the mechanics. Your job is to live in the state of the wish fulfilled and trust that the rest is being handled. You remain faithful to your end. You live in the feeling, you walk with the knowing, and you trust that what is yours is already on its way. Every day you return to the feeling. Every day you say, thank you, it is done. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop worrying and start resting. And in that rest you find the secret of timing. Not your timing, but divine timing. The timing that never fails. The timing that always delivers. The timing that waits for nothing but your belief.